Here we go. Athletes Forum Podcast, College Sports Crew. What is going on, everyone? Shout out to everyone that is back in here, watching the video in the comment section, joining their community, subscribing to the channel, and came back to just talk some beautiful college football. Listen, not a lot in regards to the show we want to do tonight. Right after this show, we got the guys from We Talk Ball. Got some good topics over there they're going to be talking about. I know they're going to be reacting to my top 5 SEC games. But as you can look here on the board, we're going to talk about the new NCAA rule that was just passed. How do we feel about it? What is it? What's the impact it's going to be going forward? We're going to talk about some first-year coaches a little bit. Who do you guys think are going to be the ones to have the most success in year one out of all the first-year coaches, right? We got some fan engagement responses I'll tap into. And then my top 5 Big Ten games to watch this year, as this is going to be a fabulous 2026 college football season. So without further ado, before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, right? College Sports Crew on YouTube and TikTok, College Crew on Twitter. Talk to us, chat with us, chop it up with us. All right, we might have made some enemies as of late, but listen, all is love and war, right? So the first rule I want to kind of dive into, talk about was this new NCAA rule that is granting 5 years to compete, 5 years to complete 5 seasons of play. Now you're probably asking, don't we originally have that with the red shirts? Technically, but with this rule, you technically can play all 5 years. You don't have to redshirt. You're granted 5 consecutive academic years of eligibility, right, to play 5 seasons of your prospective sport, right? Now, the clock starts once you turn 19. Now, what does that mean for the high schoolers that are 19 in high school? I think this rules kind of help prevent, those people maybe taking advantage of the high school ranks, maybe holding their child back for athletic purposes, right? So once you turn 19, the clock starts. Pretty black and white. There's a little gray area when it comes to medical red shirts, but at 19, the clock starts for you, right? How do we feel about it? What's it going to impact? Listen, a lot of people saying it's unfair for the 2022 class set to graduate, obviously, next year. But listen, there's some things you're not going to be able to control. There's some things that are just going to be out of your hands, things you can't prevent. And for those people that say that that's unfair, I say, well, they still had the possibility of the redshirt. The only difference is they're just dropping the redshirt here, right? You got 5 to play 5, right? Not 4 to play 5, because remember, if you redshirt, you technically sit out a year. Not 4 seasons in 5 years. You got 5 seasons in 5 years. This is also going to eliminate the super senior, right? Those 8, 9, 10, very rare, but still some out there, seniors that are still playing. This is going to eliminate the COVID extra year a lot of these people got, if that even is still a thing. I don't think it is, right? I don't think it is. But I like the rule. I am for the rule. As a former collegiate athlete, sometimes I wish I had one more year to play. Now, I was redshirted my freshman year. I played 4 years after that. But sometimes I wish I had just that one more year to play, and that's essentially what this rule is giving to these student athletes. Now, how does it affect other sports like baseball or basketball, where the redshirt rule is a little different? You throw one pitch, swing at one pitch in baseball, your redshirt is done. Basketball, if you play X amount of minutes, I think it's very minimum, your redshirt is done. In college football, you could play 4 games, still get redshirt. Doesn't matter when those games are. Actually, I think they have to be within the first half of the season. But you could play the first 4 games and still redshirt. But this is going to eliminate that. There's no more worrying about burning a redshirt year or sitting out because you're being forced to play, right? So the new NCAA rule, 5 and 5, I like it. I'm for it, right? Drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. How do we feel about it? How do we think it's going to impact the game? Right? Is this good for the game? Drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Next thing I want to dive into, first-year coaches who are going to have success. Now, if you follow us, you know we dropped a clip, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, right? We dropped a clip asking you guys who you think, which first-year coach will have the most success. I want to respond to at least 3 of those guys, all right, or 3 of those responses. So let's dive into the first one. Which first-year coach will have the most success? My guy here, Red Napper, Brian Hartline. I like the Brian Hartline I like the Brian Hartline pick because Brian Hartline, I think, is in a good position, a good recruiting area that he's developed a lot of the guys and the assets he's got to have in Florida. A lot of the skill position guys he's got to have in Florida. A lot of the the athletes that may not get the noticeability at bigger schools, he's going to have access to those in a landmine full of rich talent down in the southeast of America, right? Down in Florida, right? Close to the southern part of Georgia, Savannah, Alabama, right? Obviously, you got the whole state. So I like Brian Hartline in regards to success. The American is going to be wildly interesting with the amount of coaches that they lost this past year. You think about Golish, Summerall, Silverfield. Memphis is still a team that might give teams some issues. But I'm curious to see what USF is going to look like under Brian Hartline. What did he take from Ryan Day in regards to running not just a program, a team, but running an offense? Even though he has years of calling an offense at Ohio State, what's that going to look like now at USF, right? Where you're in a position where you could grab talent better than most other programs in the American Conference. So Brian Hartline, I like that pick. Let's dive into another one. Who we got? First-year coaches to have success. Tosh should have more success than last year due to transfer upgrades on offense and a relatively easy schedule. The question is their defense due to all the transfers out. That's a hell of a breakdown. And listen, Cal's been known to have some good defensive guys, right? Especially, I think 1 year, maybe it was a year or two ago, they have some of the top DBs in the country, right? Some of the top DBs in the country. Now, he has a good point. They lost a lot of defensive guys, right? A lot of what's going to be the foundation of what Tosh brings to the table. Remember, he's a defensive-minded coach. Comes from Alabama, comes from Oregon. He's led that Oregon defense to success the past couple of years under Dan Lanning. Now he's in a position where he's taking full control of the operation, the program. Is he still going to have his hand on defense, or is he going to be more of a head coach and overlook the whole system, right? So defense is definitely going to be a question. However, one of their biggest competitions is just going to be travel. They play in the ACC. Having to travel across country is going to get annoying and tiring, even though it's not an excuse. That's going to be one of his biggest competitions. However, it's going to work in his advantage this year as well, too. They got Clemson coming in this year on a Friday night, too, right? So, it's going to work both ways. I'm curious how they're going to operate. I like that Tosh has got this opportunity. I like the quarterback. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. I like the quarterback that he got. He's familiar with him because he committed to Oregon before being taken out of his release, then going to Cal, and they just reunited. And he played as a freshman last year, played pretty well as a freshman. So I'm going to be excited to see how he took the next step as well, too. And maybe Cal, maybe not this year, but maybe Cal's a team we should maybe keep an eye out for the following year, right? The following year, kind of see how that plays out, right? So first-year coaches to have success, all right? I like that Tosh pick. Let's go to one more. James Franklin feels like the easy answer, so I'll throw it out. Tosh for Cal, they have a lot of great pieces on the schedule that's set up for them. Yep. Listen, James Franklin is the easy answer. James Franklin is in a great position. He's taken over a program that has history, a program that has tradition, a program that literally has some credibility, right? They just haven't had the right guy there since Beamer left. That's all it is. You get the right guy there, you're able to lock up Virginia, recruit the DMV, tackle the 757, right? James Franklin could go to work, especially tackle the Northeast. Remember, he's familiar with that territory. He was an offensive coordinator at Maryland. He was a head coach at Vanderbilt, right? Took over head coach at Penn State. He's recruiting in his backyard, right? He's recruiting the Indianas, Ohio's, Pennsylvania's, DMV, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Delaware. That's literally his backyard, right? So nothing much is going to change. And you could say that he's at a program that is in a better position than when he took over Penn State. Because remember, when he took over Penn State and Brian Billick was there and all the things that, they were going through before Franklin got there, Virginia Tech just hasn't had success of winning. They haven't had the right guy. They haven't delivered the right message, James Franklin's a guy that he's a player's coach. He recruited me out of high school, right? He's a guy that is going to build and grow this team, right? And make sure they're set up for success. And I think Virginia Tech has an opportunity in a competitive schedule this year in the ACC, but they have an opportunity to go make some noise. All right. I don't know what the over-under is. I'm going to say they get to maybe 8-4. They got some tough games down the stretch. I know we did a ACC top 5 games. They were on there a couple times. And if you missed it, make sure you go tune that in. But James Franklin is definitely a guy that is going to be interesting because you got to think about some of the other guys. Silverfield, there's not a lot of backing right now. He is probably the coach that has the most to prove. Summerall is taking over a great roster, and he's been winning over Florida since he got there. Alex Golesh has been probably operating in silence, but doing a great job and recruiting in regards to getting guys to start to pick up a little bit for him as well, too. Auburn's a tricky team. Matt Campbell, right, literally have to build the trust in that community after they lost James Franklin. So, listen, there's a lot going on, right? There's a lot of coaches that have done some things that they're going to try to carry those things over into their next program, right? So, we'll see. Hey, before we dive into my top 5 Big Ten games to watch this season, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, College Sports Crew. Subscribe to us on TikTok, College Sports Crew. We have a ton of shows. After this show, we got We Talk Ball coming in at 8:30 with Austin and Chris, right? Tomorrow, we got Veterans Sports Voice Podcast. Sorry, Pops. I got to get that right. But we got the Unks in the building, right? Coach Pops, Unk, talking some college ball. Really delivering the message from within. Love that show on a Friday, right? You might want to grab a cigar and sip a little something as well, too, and kick back with the Unks in that show, right? And then we got other shows coming along the way. We're heading into the college sports season. We got more shows that are coming. We're going to do a kickoff show in August, right, with all the guys from this network. It's going to be a fun time, so make sure you tap in. And honestly, drop a comment. Talk it up with me. Let me know what you guys think. We're gearing up for one of the best times of the year, and that's college football season. All right, my top 5 Big Ten games for 2026. Without further ado, let's dive into it. My number 5 game, I got USC versus Washington coming in at number 5, week 5. And the reason why I got this game at number 5 is because this game for at least USC is kind of like there's a lot of pressure on USC this year to compete now, right? Lincoln Riley's been there for a couple years. You had the Alex Grinch era that was a disaster. They switched game plans in regards to how they want to run the program midseason. They just had the number 1 recruiting class last year or 2 years ago. There's a lot of pressure to win, and not just get to the playoffs, right? But Washington is a dangerous team, I think, this year because Washington is a team that can maybe break through this year. I'll be curious to see how that pans out. USC Washington comes in at number 5. Coming in at number 4, we got USC Oregon. This game, which is ironically right before the USC Washington game, this game will set the tone for both teams this season, right? Because this is Pac-12 at night type ball right here, right? This is Oregon, who is maybe one of national champion favorites, arguably. Best quarterback, top 2 quarterback returning in Dante Moore. Tons of weapon on the outside. Defense is loaded, especially up front. It's national championship or bust for Oregon. And then we just talked about USC and the pressure that they have coming into the season. You get these 2 games back to back, you got to bare minimum split. Because if you go 0-2, it could end early for Lincoln this year. You go 0-2 in these 2 games, not to mention the rest of the games you have in your schedule, including one against Penn State. I think that's at Penn State. Listen, USC has to bare minimum split one of these games, and it's not going to be easy. They go to one of these games. Who do they go to? I think they go to Washington. I got to double check that. I think they go to Washington. But USC Oregon comes in at number 4. Number 3, this is a game everyone is used to by now, but maybe might have lost a little bit of its luster. And Week 13, Ohio State, Michigan, for me, comes in at number 3. Listen, I know it's the game. I know it's the biggest rivalry, arguably, one of the biggest rivalries in college football. I know there's a lot of history. I know Ohio State just broke through last year. I know Michigan has been through a lot of turmoil. Heck, they got a new coach this year. Did Bryce Underwood take the next step, right? On the same side of that, Julian Sayin didn't really end the season well last year. Did he take the next step? Did he develop, right? They got the best player in college football in Jeremiah Smith at receiver, right? Both teams, let me rephrase that. Ohio State is going to have more new guys probably on the field than Michigan has. In regards to Michigan played a lot of freshmen last year who are going to have some of that experience. Now, they did lose, obviously, their running back in Justice Hayes to Georgia Tech. However, you could count everything out the window when it comes to Michigan versus Ohio State. This game comes in at number 3 just because it lacked a little bit of luster. But, heck, we could get to this game and the storyline could change. The storyline can change, so I'm excited to see how that pans out, right? So, coming in at number 2, we got Indiana versus Ohio State Week 7. Hey, I'm just going to keep this straight to the point. I need to know how good these teams are. This is like one of the ultimate matchups before we get to our number 1 game in the Big Ten. Rivalry of the Big Ten championship. Did Indiana rebound? I don't want to say rebound, but did they reload? And are they going to be on a trajectory to maybe win the Big Ten again at this point of the season? Ohio State, what are you by the time you get to this point? All right. Did you play your best ball? Is this going to be your first real game, right? I think Ohio State got some games on their schedule this year, more so than they did last year, right? But I need to know how good both these teams are, all right? And I think Week 7, we're gonna find out a little bit about Indiana and Ohio State. So that comes in at number 2 for me, right? And then number 1, the number 1 game, in my opinion, top 5 Big Ten games to watch, right? I got Ohio State, Oregon, Week 10. Ohio State, Oregon, Week 10. This is potentially going to be a classic. I think this one is in the shoe, right? Don't quote me on that. I think it's in the shoe though, right? And if it's in the shoe, this would be the first time Oregon's come back to the shoe since Kayvon Thibodeau was playing for Oregon, and they beat Ohio State in the shoe, right? They beat Ohio State in the shoe. Not to mention, Ohio State 2 weeks later plays Michigan. 2 weeks later plays Michigan. Not to mention, Oregon the following week plays Washington. So they're caught in a similar circumstance as USC earlier in the year where USC had to play Oregon and Washington. Now Oregon has to go to play Ohio State and Washington. 2 tough, really tough games back to back. Depending on how that Ohio State-Indiana game pans out, this game could be for the Big Ten. This game could have Big Ten implications. And the one thing I love about the season, when you really dive into like a lot of teams and their schedule, there are some tough games late in the season that we're going to be keeping an eye out for. Usually a lot of teams like to play their cupcakes, and then we don't really get the matchups we thought we were going to get. But it's fairly balanced between all conferences in regards to tough games this year. So I'm excited to see what that game looks like. So let's recap. Coming in at number 5, we got USC Washington, Week 5. Coming in at number 4, we got USC Oregon, Week 4. Coming in at number 3, we got Ohio State Michigan, Week 13, right? Coming in at number 2, we got Ohio State Indiana, right? And then coming in at number 1, I got Ohio State Oregon, Week 10. Hey, drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. What game are you excited to watch? What game do you think I missed? What game should we be talking about, keeping an eye out for? Is there a team we're sleeping on, right? You know I like to dive into those comments. Let me know what you guys think. We didn't do the wheel tonight, right? We'll do a double dose of the wheel next week, right? We Talk Ball's coming on next, right? So tune in, subscribe to the channel, Athletes Fun Podcast.